Today, we are going to explore one of the most curious and powerful phenomena in all of medicine, the placebo effect. We're going to look at how a simple belief, just the expectation that you're going to feel better, can trigger real, actual, physical changes in your body. It's a remarkable window into the connection between our minds and our biology. So let's start with the question that really gets to the heart of it, the one that can seem so strange. How is it possible that a sugar pill, something with absolutely no active ingredients, can genuinely make real pain go away? What's actually happening there? Well, the answer is, in a way, very straightforward. This isn't just about someone thinking they feel better. It's not wishful thinking. It's your brain kicking off a whole cascade of real, measurable, biological changes. We're talking about shifts in your brain's chemistry and activity that scientists can actually see on brain scans. The effect is absolutely real. The trigger is simply the belief. Okay, so to really understand this, we first need to get a clear definition of what the placebo effect is, and maybe just as important, what it isn't. We need to move past some of the common myths that are out there. So, scientifically speaking, here's what it is. The placebo effect is a genuine, measurable improvement in symptoms, and it's caused by a treatment, say a sugar pill or a saline injection, that has no direct medical power for whatever is being treated. The magic isn't in the pill itself, it's in the act of receiving the treatment. Now, this is where we can really contrast the myths with the reality. You've probably heard someone say, "Oh, it's all in your head." And while that's technically true, it's not in the dismissive way people mean it. Brain scans actually show that a placebo can trigger changes in brain activity. It can cause real shifts in neurochemistry. So when someone's pain goes away, it's because their brain is literally quieting down those pain signals. The effect is very, very real. And what's really fascinating is that the brain's response is hugely influenced by the context of the situation. The more real or powerful a treatment seems, the stronger the placebo effect can be. So an injection feels more serious than a pill, so it often works better. A larger pill can feel more potent than a small one. Even a branded placebo with a fancy name can outperform a generic-looking one. All these external cues amplify our brain's expectation that it's going to get relief. But here's the part that really surprises people. You don't always have to be tricked for it to work. In studies called open-label placebo trials, researchers are completely honest. They tell patients, this is a sugar pill. It has no active medicine. And yet, a significant number of them still report feeling better. This suggests the effect goes deeper than just belief in a drug. It might be tied to the ritual of care itself. So how does this actually happen? How does something as abstract as a belief turn into a real physical change? Well, the answer lies in what you could call the brain's own internal pharmacy. You can really break the process down into 3 main steps. First, you form an expectation of getting better. This activates your prefrontal cortex, a part of the brain that deals with planning and belief. Second, this activation signals your brain to release its own natural chemicals, things like endorphins or dopamine. And third, those chemicals go to work, blocking pain signals or improving your mood, which leads to real physical changes. And we have really definitive proof of this mechanism. You see, endorphins are the body's natural version of opioids, and there's a drug called naloxone that's designed specifically to block the receptors that opioids attach to. Well, when scientists give naloxone to someone who's feeling pain relief from a placebo, that relief just vanishes completely. It's the smoking gun that proves the brain was doing the work all along, using its own built-in painkillers. And this isn't just about pain. The brain uses different tools from its pharmacy for different jobs. In patients with Parkinson's, for instance, the expectation of improvement can actually cause the brain to release dopamine, which is essential for motor control, and that can lead to a temporary improvement in their symptoms. It's also about conditioning. Our brain learns to associate things, like a doctor's office or a white coat, with healing, and that can trigger a physical response all on its own. All of this brings us to a much deeper question. Why? Why did we evolve to have this ability in the first place? What's the purpose of having a brain that can create such a powerful effect just based on belief? The answer seems to lie in the brain's most fundamental job. At its core, the brain is a prediction machine. Its main purpose is to constantly make guesses about the outside world and about your body's internal state, all to keep you alive. The placebo effect seems to be a perfect example of this predictive power in action. Think about it from a survival point of view. Pain is obviously a crucial signal that something is wrong. But once you're in a safe place and you believe help is coming, keeping that pain signal cranked up to maximum just wastes energy. The ability to dial pain down when the context signals safety, well, that's a huge evolutionary advantage. The placebo effect seems to be our way of tapping into that ancient control system. All right, so let's bring this all back to modern medicine. What does this mean in the real world? The implications are pretty huge, and they affect everything from how we test new drugs to the way doctors and patients interact. First, we have to recognize that expectation is a double-edged sword. A positive expectation can create the placebo effect, sure, but a negative one can create what's called the nocebo effect. So if a patient is warned about a long list of potential side effects, their fear and negative expectation can actually cause those symptoms to show up, even if they're taking a totally harmless pill. This is why it's understood in medicine that basically every treatment has a placebo component. The ritual of going to a doctor, the trust you have in them, the simple expectation of healing, it all plays a part in the final outcome. This is also why when new drugs are tested, they have to prove that they're more effective than a placebo. They have to show that their chemical effect is stronger than the powerful effects of just belief and context alone. So this leads us to a really key ethical question. If the placebo effect is this powerful, can doctors actually use it to help patients? And more importantly, can they do it without having to lie? And the answer, it seems, is yes. As we mentioned, those open-label placebo studies show that honesty can actually work. By explaining to patients that the body has a powerful self-healing response and that this pill is a tool to help activate that response, doctors have seen real benefits for things like chronic pain and IBS, and it's all done without any deception. So when you put it all together, the placebo effect really shows us that the line between our mind and our body isn't a solid wall. It's much more like a constant feedback loop. Our brain's expectations, which are shaped by our beliefs and the world around us, trigger real biochemical events that literally change how our body feels and functions. And this leaves us with one final, fascinating question to ponder. We know the placebo effect can't shrink a tumor or mend a broken bone. It has its limits. But it can profoundly change our experience of things like pain, fatigue, and nausea. So if our expectation is this powerful, what are its true boundaries? And how much of our own biology might we one day learn to consciously influence?